welcome to our highlights edition with the best picks of the week. Here is a look at what we've put together today. Playful pictures, the witty photos of an Instagram duo from Spain. Beautiful buses, a convention for classic omnibus collectors. And blossoming buds, a flower festival on the Portuguese island of Madeira. The photo sharing site Instagram has some 700 million subscribers. So to make a name for yourself or to get your photo seen by the masses, you either have to be a really adorable cat or you have to do something to stand out. Well, Ana Davis and Daniel Rueda seem to have figured out a formula for getting recognized. This couple from Spain plays with patterns, shapes, colors, and perspectives. And now they're getting commissions from advertising and PR agencies.
An orange hat becomes a fried egg on the wall. Two balloons combined with a red dress create a smiling face. Red stripes pose a danger to anyone who can't run away fast enough. They're all photos by Ana Davis and Daniel Rueda. The Spanish artist duo sets up these little masterpieces with the simplest of resources, like tape and cardboard.
If I had to describe our work in 3 words, they would be creativity, fun, and minimalism. I think that conveys our work pretty well.
And color.
True, 4 words.
Ana and Danielle publish their pictures on the internet. Their 2 Instagram channels have more than 500,000 subscribers. The photographs often play with perspective or present amusing scenarios. The holes in this wall become giant raindrops falling on Anna's umbrella. She and Danielle take most of their pictures during their holiday travels. They live in Valencia, where they work together at home on their ideas. Their huge success on social media came as a surprise.
It's crazy to think that we just did it for fun when we started. Now it's practically our job. I think what people like about our work is that they are highly structured pictures with clear lines and composition. But above all, we try to make them entertaining, always with new, creative ideas.
Danielle and Ana first met during their studies. He is an architect, she is an illustrator, but neither of them works much in their actual profession. A growing number of companies have taken notice of the photographs and send the couple products like watches or clothing to be staged creatively for ad campaigns. Like this windbreaker from a French fashion label. They want Ana and Danielle to use the theme of colour, hide and seek. Their idea is to put Danielle in a cone of light, the same colour as the jacket, to make him disappear.
It all seems very simple, but it isn't. There's a lot of detail involved. We have to find the right materials, so it looks the way we imagined it. Making a photo is an elaborate process.
Part of that is finding the right location. Valencia's old quarter with its flamboyant architecture is usually not suitable. The duo prefer minimalist buildings with clear geometrical forms. Which is why the two head for an unattractive industrial area on the outskirts of town. Near the highway, they find what they're looking for, an inconspicuous dark grey facade in a side street.
All we have to do now is put up the set and wait until the light gets softer, not so direct. The shadows are too intense.
That's Valencia. The sun is always shining.
With tape and yellow cardboard, they assemble the flashlight cone in which Danielle will disappear. The shadows are still too strong. 2 hours go by before the sun is at the right angle for the perfect photo. Back home, Ana and Danielle comb through the 400 pictures to choose the one they like best. A few small corrections, and it can be posted on Instagram. They have a simple strategy for getting as many reactions as possible.
We only publish things we're really convinced about. It all takes too much work, and that shows up in the feedback. People only react when we give it all we've got. That's how we improve our technique. We get better and more ambitious.
The work on this photo was worth it. Within a few days, it garnered 33,000 likes from Instagram users. Anna and Danielle are already experimenting with new ideas. Short, vertical videos suitable for Facebook that people can watch on their smartphones. There are so many clever and amusing little stories waiting to be told.
I'm still waiting to get thousands of clicks with my cats. All right. Well, for fans of old vehicles, there are all sorts of vintage car events throughout the year here in Europe. Well, last weekend, however, there was a very special gathering right here in Germany, the European Meeting of Historic Buses. Now, these old vehicles normally don't interest me, but these omnibuses are true design classics.
Some of these buses have put more than 90 years behind them. Now they're cruising the back roads of Lower Saxony. Collectors from all over Europe have brought some of the most elegant and valuable city buses still on the road to this very special vintage vehicles meet.
It's just fun to fool around with these old things, to drive them, keep them going. After all, they are pieces of cultural history. You just can't describe it. I live and die for old cars. First of all, everything rattles all over. And second, you need some muscles to move them around.
Walter Hooker arrives in a bus by German car maker Brennerbor from 1928, the oldest European bus to take part in the meet. In the late 1920s and 30s, the bus carried passengers on its route from Bad Rottenfelder's railway station to the centre of town. It can be quite a challenge to navigate today's traffic with yesterday's technology.
It's hard to steer, and shifting gears is complicated. You have to double clutch, and it doesn't have any synchro mesh gears. So shifting isn't easy. You have to know what you're doing, or it'll shake, rattle, and roll.
This one has come the longest way, from Bristol in England. It still has something of the feel of the 1980s about it. Stuart Shelton has been on the road in Europe with it for 3 days so far.
In motion, no emotion. I have to concentrate on the driving. When you drive, you always look at the road, either ahead or in the mirrors. No matter how pretty the girl is on the passenger seat, you don't look at her.
One by one, the antique buses arrive at the museum grounds in Einbeck, a total of 70 entries. They've come from all over Germany, as well as England, Switzerland, Belgium and Austria. The organiser of the meet is the new PS Speicher Automotive Museum. Its collection has more than 100 historical vehicles, all carefully restored by hand, including this 1927 Buick City bus. Now it's time for a very special event on the programme, a convoy through the countryside to the one-time Imperial Benedictine Abbey of Corvey, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. All the buses make the 80-some kilometre round trip without mishap, even ex-fire chief Friedel Oppermann's old Buick.
The clutch jerks a little, but that's just an inconvenience. When you get hold of a vehicle like this, it doesn't run. You have to make it roadworthy, and that's really quite an experience.
The vintage bus fans take the opportunity to trade stories and information. Where can they get this or that spare part? Who knows a specialist, or who can get a rare historical detail back in order?
Well, they're getting hard to find. These people are dying out. There aren't many left who can restore old vintage vehicles like these.
A preserved bus needs a lot of love, a lot of time, and a lot of money to keep it going. And if we can't have a lively membership, then it will die out.
Expanding the numbers of vintage bus fans shouldn't be quite as hard. The owner-operators here are all men, but among the spectators at events like these are plenty of women too.
More and more women are driving the big rig trucks. And it's quite possible that one of them might eventually take up this hobby. Women are becoming emancipated, so you might see them in buses like these. It's really interesting to drive a bus like these. It's true, the drivers are mostly men, but I got my driver's license on an older model, an old Mercedes 303. So it's nice to see antique vehicles like these.
Together, the fans here are doing what they can to make sure these historical buses will be preserved for future generations.
Time now for something to eat. And as we have said before, you don't have to go very far in Berlin to experience international cuisine. There are some 189 nations represented in Berlin, and some of these people bring a slice of their native countries with them in the form of culinary treats. Well, today we are going to try out a special papaya salad from Laos. So bon appétit.
My first memories of Berlin were the months that I spent in an asylum seeker's home. Those are my earliest memories. I can remember the long hallways, the linoleum floors. There were many cribs for children and many other people from Asia.
Hao Nguyen was born in 1977 in Laos. This photograph of her extended family was taken before her birth. Her father was critical of the government, and in 1979, her family fled to Thailand. Hao Nguyen was the youngest of 4 siblings. A year later, she arrived in Berlin. Meanwhile, she has her own family. Sharing meals together with her husband and children is very important to her.
In Asia, food plays a very big role. It's at the center of everything, at big family celebrations too. There's always a lot of food, good food. It's always the highlight. Even nowadays, when there's a family celebration, everyone looks forward to the food and, of course, to spending time with your family when you all get together.
Hao Nguyen originally trained as a foreign language clerk. In 2011, she and her 2 brothers opened a restaurant in the Neukölln district of Berlin. Shei Dang features dishes from Southeastern Asia.
My father's name is Dang. Officially, our last name is Nguyen because the person who applied for our permission to come here put down the name Nguyen, which is a very common Vietnamese name. But our real name is Dang. That's why we decided to use that name for our restaurant. And Shei is a nod to Indochina, which Laos is a part of. My grandfather and great-grandfather worked for the French, sometimes as cooks. That's why we thought it was a good fit.
Papaya salad is a traditional Laotian dish, which is served in many different ways. It's usually eaten with fermented shrimp. In an unusual twist, the ingredients are crushed with a mortar and pestle. Papaya salad is a melange of flavors, combining the sweetness of papaya and sugar, a salty fish sauce, the sourness of lemon, and the spicy heat of chilies.
Laotian cuisine is definitely spicy hot. We have many dishes that have some heat to them, but they aren't just spicy. They all have their own distinct flavor combinations because we also use a lot of herbs and spices. In Asian cooking, we tend to use many more ingredients than in European cuisine, and it tends to be more expensive because the herbs aren't as widely available, so they do cost more.
Friedrichstraße is where Neukölln meets Berlin's Kreuzberg district. It's an area that's changed a lot in recent years. Rents here used to be affordable, which drew many young people to the district. That was followed by the rise of a vibrant restaurant scene. Once a rather run-down area, it's now become trendy.
Neukölln is very colorful, very edgy, and also multicultural. It used to be a bit more of a ghetto, I guess you could say. The area I live in, which isn't that far from my restaurant, used to be a place where most people didn't want to live. Today it's almost impossible to find a place here.
When the restaurant is busy, Hao Nguyen helps out in the kitchen. Ever since her brothers left the business, her cousin and mother have done the cooking.
Looks very yummy. All right, from food to travel now, and we're off to the Portuguese island of Madeira, located on the Atlantic Ocean. Now, Madeira is often referred to as the green or flower island because of its vegetation. And at this time of year, that certainly rings true because a major flower festival is in full swing with a big parade as the highlight.
There's a party atmosphere in Funchal, the capital of Madeira. The Portuguese island is celebrating something it has plenty of: flowers. A highlight of the celebration is a magnificent parade, always held 3 weeks after Easter. Roberto Rodrigues is taking part with his dance group Fura Samba. Born in Portugal, he lived in Switzerland for many years. Now he's returned home.
It's really fun to be in the flower parade. It's great to see how people are so happy to see all the flowers, the dancing, our costumes. It's wonderful to take part here.
The flower festival was the main topic of conversation in Funchal for weeks before the parade. Floral carpets have been spread out on the main promenade and flowers handed out to visitors. Roberto and his team start preparing for the parade in early April. It's taken quite a bit of effort.
It's difficult to coordinate all the people, the whole team that's here. We work under time pressure, of course, to get everything done. Everything has to be ready tomorrow. It's not just the float. We also have to coordinate 130 people.
The countdown is on with 1 day to go. Floats and marchers have to be transformed into bouquets of flowers within a single day to make sure the blossoms stay fresh. The hats made with orchids, anthuriums, and proteas help people get into the party mood before the parade kicks off. Designer Dina Trindade is responsible for the costumes and floral accessories. She emphasizes color and authenticity.
We use flowers from here, and we use this wicker work. This is made here in Madeira, so it's part from our handmade art craft. It's really fun because it's a flower festival and you live in an island full of color, full of nature, and you have to project a work with it. And that gets really interesting because it's something that you love. So it always got that little touch.
Madeira is called the Island of Flowers. They flourish in the subtropical climate, even on rocky or volcanic ground. So it's the ideal place to celebrate an annual festival of flowers. The director of tourism couldn't agree more.
A small flower festival started with an exhibition that's over 60 years old, about 63. And then about 30 years ago, we started with the parade as it is, with groups involved, which has been growing year by year, and this is one of the biggest in numbers, 1,500 people, starting with little ones from 4-year-olds.
It's Sunday afternoon, and in 15 minutes the parade will begin. Roberto and his club were up until 2 in the morning putting together and decorating their float. Now it's ready to move out, and the club members pose for tourists. Roberto can feel the adrenaline rising.
I'm really excited. That's completely normal when you organize all the people and everything else here. But we're well on our way. I'm sure it'll be a great show.
With so much floral spectacle, spring can't be anything but gorgeous. And Roberto is certain he'll be taking part again next year.
And we'll be there too. All right, time now for a sneak peek into someone's humble abode. And for that, we are heading to the south of France, to the port city of Sète on the Mediterranean. Now, this is a house that truly reflects the travels of its owner quite well.
On this hill overlooking the city of Sète in the south of France, you'll find the home of Eric Ben Said. Spacious windows grace the entire facade and suggest that there's much to be discovered inside. The sandstone framing the extension came from the very ground on which the IT manager had his house built.
Hi, bonjour, good morning. Welcome in Sète, welcome in my house. Let's go in.
The entrance leads right into the open concept living area. Covering 120 square meters, it functions as a sitting room, kitchen, dining room, and lounge.
This house is a mix of travel stories, and when I travel, you have a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion, a lot of sensibilities, and I wanted to put all of these feelings and all of these vibes inside in one house, in one place.
The businessman had the house built to his specifications 4 years ago. He's furnished the living room with design classics, like this Charles Ames lounge chair from 1956 and modern sofas. From here, there's a clear view of the port city of Sète and the Mediterranean.
In this region, we have sun almost all the year, so the house has to be on the same waves. So I wanted to have in this house a Spanish spirit.
And because Eric Ben Said is a fan of the Spanish island of Ibiza, he decorated the bedrooms on the upper floor, giving them a typical island-style look. Bright colors give the place a real holiday feel.
The room is one of the places you spend a lot of time, and the color, blue color, mixed with the sun, make you happy, simply.
The interior design is a mix of styles: retro accessories, design classics, and modern furniture. While purists might not approve, this resident clearly feels very much at home here. Ben Said also has a passion for recycled materials. In the bathroom, old railway ties serve as a countertop. And the old wood planks constituting the dining room table were once part of an Indonesian fishing vessel. The house also has a wine cellar with a small bar. The color scheme of the retro-look wallpaper harmonizes with the British colonial-style leather armchairs. A table made from recycled wooden pallets provides the finishing touch. It's a home full of memories and atmosphere.
So I really appreciate you being here, and I say you goodbye, and let's meet together next time. Bye-bye.
Eric Ben Said and his house in Sète, a personal home inspired by very personal experiences.
And his cat will get lots of clicks on Instagram. And with that, we wrap up another week of Euromaxx. Don't forget to check us out on social media or follow the show on our website. As always, from me and the rest of us here at Euromaxx, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.